Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video on Lightning Web Component Development series on Apex Hours. So guys, in this video, you will learn how you can work with Apex in your Lightning Web Component. So in this video, I'll show you how you can import the Apex method, how to expose it to your Lightning Web Component, how you can call the Apex method, pass parameters in it, and much more. So let's start today's video guys. Let me share the presentation. So let's start by my introduction. I'm Kapil Batra. I'm a Salesforce MVP and founder of blog salesforcebold.com and the YouTube channel Salesforce Bold. I'm from Ajmer, Rajasthan, and currently I'm working as a senior Salesforce consultant. The agenda of this video will be to learn more about how we can import Apex method, how we can expose Apex method to Lightning Web Components, how we can wire Apex method, and how to make imperative callouts in Apex. So basically, whenever you have to work with Apex in your LWC, so there are two ways you can do it. You can choose to wire it, or you can use the imperative callout. What is the difference between wire and imperative callout? From our previous session, you already know like how wire service work, how we can wire something with property or function, and when we should wire a property or wire a function. About imperative callout and what are the differences when you should use the imperative instead of wire, we will learn in this video. So first, let's start with how we can import Apex methods. Guys, in this video, most of the part is going to be demos only, even though I have prepared all the slides for you, but still like most of the part is going to be the demos only. So in Lightning Web Component, you can use import syntax in JavaScript to import an Apex method via the Salesforce Apex scope package. As you can see in below syntax, this is the same syntax we have used in that Aura coexistence example from our previous slide. So here, if you will import get ACC list, so this get ACC list is basically a name for JS that identifies the Apex method. And if you will notice, account controller.get ACC list is the name of the method in the Apex class. Okay, so in this video, we'll be trying all these examples. So let's start by this importing Apex method. So let me show you how you can import an Apex method here. Okay, so for that we'll be creating a new Apex class first. So Command Shift P, create Apex. Let's name it ACC controller. Okay, and let's put it in the default folder. So this is our Apex class, guys. So in this Apex class, first we will be creating a method and then we will be importing it in the JavaScript file of a component. Okay, so to create a method, you can simply, let me just first remove this constructor, we don't need it here. Okay, so to create a method and to expose it to your Lightning Web Component, you have to, the method must be static and either global or public. Also, the method must be annotated with Aura enabled keyword. Okay, so let me quickly add Aura enabled first. So here is Aura enabled, and this is the beauty of VS Code. I have just pressed enter and it has created a basic syntax for me, but we will create it again, guys. Let me remove it. Okay, so here we will create a method. So we'll create public static list of accounts and let's name it get ACC list. Okay, right, and we will just return the result directly. Select ID, name, phone from account. Okay, and let's add a limit here of 10. Okay, that's look good to me. And if you would like to expose this Apex to, and if you're planning to create a wire method, so wire will be using the local cached memory in your Lightning Web Component in this. So for that, you have to make this component cacheable true. Okay, so this is a cacheable true ACC controller. Syntax looks fine to me. Let me try to deploy it. So to deploy it, I will do push source to org. Okay. Now how you can import it in JavaScript, we will check another example for that. But the basic syntax is going to be same. You can simply like do import get ACC list. This is the method name. This is the identifier in JavaScript from Salesforce Apex, then your Apex class name dot your method name, right? Okay. Let's move to how you can expose it. I have already shared it with you guys. We have just created Apex class and expose it to the Lightning Web Component using the Aura enabled annotation. Okay. Now let me show you how you can use wire to call a method from Apex to your Lightning Web Component. To read Salesforce data, Lightning Web Component uses reactive wire service, as I have already explained these things to you in our previous video, which was wire adapter and function. So to use wire and component JavaScript class to specify an Apex method, you can wire a property or a function to receive the data. If you would like to use the data as it is, you can use wire with property. If you would like to perform any action based on the return data, you should use wire with function, right? So, but last time we just wired the Apex schema properties fields and we tried to get data using UI related APIs, right? But here we'll be using Apex to do that. So let's understand it using some examples in this org. Okay, so first we will start with wire with property, and then we will use the same example in wire with function as well. So let me just move to my org. So this is my org, guys, and here I have already created 4 empty components. We'll be having 4 examples here. So first one will be having how you can wire with property. The other one will be wired with function. The next one will be when you should use imperative callout and how you can wire an imperative method. Okay, and the last one will be how you can pass parameters in an imperative callout, right? So let's start with the first one, which is wired with property. Okay, let me move to my component. So this is my component, bind wire with property, and this is the JavaScript of it. Okay, so we'll start with JavaScript. So here in JavaScript, to use the wire service, first you have to add the wire keyword here. So here I will just add a comma and add wire. Okay, now we will import the function which we have created right now in our Apex class. Okay, so for that you can simply do import get ACC list. What was the function name? It was get ACC list or account. So it is get ACC list. Okay, so where's JavaScript? Here it is. So we'll do get ACC list from Salesforce Apex ACC controller and get ACC list. Here it is. Okay, so we have imported that Apex method in our Lightning Web Component now. Now we will use a wire with property to call it. Okay, so to use wire with property, the syntax is same what we had in our last example while we were doing it with Apex schema. So to use it, you just need to use wire here, and then you can call the identifier, the JavaScript one here. And guys, these identifier can be same or it can be different also. It is up to your requirement. Okay, it is just for the demo purpose, and in my example these identifier name and the method name is same. Otherwise you can have a different name for identifier as well. And I'm binding it in this accounts. Okay, now let's create a UI for that as well. So here we are just having a lightning card. So first we will check if that account is having data. Okay, and as we have wired it with a property, so we will be consuming the data as it is. So it will be returning us data from account. So for that we will check first if it is having data. So I will use a template for that. Template if true, account start data here. Okay. So now if the account will be having some data, only in that case it will just display a list here. So we'll be creating a list. Okay. All right. Here I will just add a div for some padding, and we will add medium padding. Okay. Now here we will add a for each loop. So to add a for each loop, you can add syntax like template for each, and here we will run the loop on accounts data. Then we'll create loop item, which in my case is going to be ACC, or you can have account or whatever you like. It is completely up to you. Okay. Now here you can simply add acc.name. Okay, or to make the UI better, you can add lightning template item. You can add background color. Let me quickly deploy it. Okay, it is getting deployed. Okay, we are having an error here. It is in controller. Okay, it is in our class, I believe. So first one is related to limit. I think I did misspelled there. Okay, so it should be limit, but anyways, let me deploy it again. Okay, it is deployed now. Let's move to our component first. Here it is, and let's check the output here on the first example. So this was the example of wire width property. Now as you can see, the UI is not looking good here. So let me just quickly add a lightning item, a lightning layout here. Okay, so for that you can simply add a lightning layout here. So we'll do lightning, we'll add layout. Okay, and key for this layout will be account ID. Okay, and let's add the vertical class as well. SLDS where medium. Awesome. Okay, now we will add lightning layout item. Lightning layout item, and we will put this acc.name inside this lightning layout item. Okay, let me save it and deploy it again. Okay, it is deployed. Let's check the output. Okay, it is much better now. So that's how you can wire something with property. Now let's talk about wire with function. So as I told you already, when you should use wire with function. You can use wire with function when you need to make some operation, make some changes in data, or you have to perform any action after getting the data. Okay, so in that case you can use wire with function. Let me show it to you with an example. Okay, so for that we will be using this component, which is wired with function. So in this wired with function, let me start with the JavaScript. So in JavaScript, guys, we'll be importing same function. So for that, first we will add wire, and then we will import the same function again. So we'll do get acc list, or let me just change the name to show you like the identifier is different than the function name. get account list. Okay, so this is the JavaScript identifier from Salesforce Apex ACC controller get ACC list. We'll be using same function. Okay, now here we will be having data and error separately. So for that we will create two attributes here. So I will use accounts and error. Okay, now to wire a function, the syntax is pretty similar. You can simply use wire, then your function name, which is basically the identifier name in JavaScript, not your Apex function name. Okay, now here in this wired account, I will be having error and data. Okay, now if it is data, then this dot account is equal to data, and this dot error should be undefined. Else if it is an error, then we will be doing vice versa. This dot error is equal to error, and this dot accounts is equal to undefined. Okay, now on the UI side, guys, we will be using the same UI which we have used in our previous example. So let me just quickly copy it from here, the template part. But here we will add one additional thing, because here we are handling the data and error separately. So here I will add another div. Let me quickly copy this one, and I will use the same here for error as well. Okay, so this is my second div in which I can display error. All right, let me deploy quickly. And now you will be able to see the output on the second block, which is wired with function. Okay, we are having an error. Let me tell you what is the error then. So here, if you will notice, in our previous example, we were having accounts.data because we were using the data as it is. But here, we have assigned that data in account separately. Okay, so we don't need this data here actually. It will be directly accounts. Let me deploy it again. And here you go. So if you'll notice on UI, we are not able to see any difference here because we have used the same example. But on the back end, maybe you need to perform any action based on the return data, or once you have received the data, maybe in that case you have to perform the action. So in that case you can use wired with function, right? Let's move to the next topic, which is imperative Apex. So let me quickly go back to the imperative Apex slide. Okay, we are done with this. We are done with this as well. Wire Apex method to function, imperative Apex, here it is. There were some key points which I would like to mention here, so that's why I went back to the presentation. So whenever you have requirement to control a method invocation, maybe on a buttons click, or maybe you need to execute a function after any other functionality, or maybe let's suppose you are using any confirm, you have to use any confirm dialog on click of a button, and on the click of the OK of that confirm dialog, you have to call an Apex method. So in that case also you will be using imperative functionality. In following scenarios, you can call imperative method instead of using wire. So whenever you have to call a method that is not annotated with cacheable true, which includes any method that insert, update, or delete the data. So whenever there is a function which is not using the cacheable data, to call that you have to use imperative method. Because if it is a cacheable method, so that needs to be called with the wire services, because wire will be using the reactive data to provide you the result from the database. But if it is not cacheable, then you can use imperative there. And also you can use it whenever you need to control the invocation when it should occur. Also, you can use it to work with objects that are not supported by user interface APIs like task and events. And if you would like to call a method from an ES6 module that does not extend Lightning element, in that case also you can use the imperative functionality. Okay, so these were few key points here. Now let me get back to the VS Code and show you an example of how you can use imperative Apex. Okay, so let me open my VS Code quickly. So as I told you, whenever you have to control the invocation of a function, in that case you can use imperative callout. So now we will be creating a Lightning Web Component which will be of course displaying the same list again, but in this case we will be displaying the same list on a click of a button. Like in wire service, it will be just executing itself whenever the page load itself. But for imperative, you need a trigger, you need a specific thing that will be executing your function. So in our case, it is going to be a button. Okay. So for the imperative functionality also, we'll be using same example. So let me quickly just copy this code here. There is going to be only one additional thing, which will be the button. Okay. So bind imperative with parameter. Where's the bind imperative method? Here it is. Okay. So here I have added that same UI. Okay. But here we will also add a button which will be calling this imperative method. So for that I will be using lightning button. Okay, let me add a container before that. So I will be having this div with some small padding. Okay, now here I will add lightning button. You can get all these elements from the library. Okay, let's label it get accounts and on click handle click. All right, now on this buttons click we'll be having that functionality. Okay, so let me copy this function name, go back to JavaScript and paste it here first. Okay, now to use the imperative callout you don't have to include the wire service because it is an imperative callout. Okay, but in imperative callout also you can manage data and error separately. So we will add accounts and error here. Okay, now here on this handle click we will be doing the imperative callout. So the syntax of this imperative callout is pretty similar. You just have to call the identifier name, but make sure you add the identifier first because I have missed it here. So let me quickly add the identifier. So we will do import get account list from Salesforce Apex ACC controller get ACC list, and we will be using this identifier here. So we will do we will directly call the identifier. Okay, then here in result we will assign if this dot account, if it is having result we will assign result and the error part will be undefined. Okay, so this basically, if you're wondering what is this, so this is basically a fat arrow syntax. You can use it to utilize the modern JavaScript capabilities in your Lightning Web Component. If you'd like to learn more about it, so for that also I'm having a series on my YouTube channel, not on ApexR, it is on Salesforce Bolt YouTube channel. The series name is Modern JavaScript for Lightning Web Component Development. So make sure, like, if you are new in Lightning Web Development, you can just get some, I would say, additional learning points using that series, because that is really going to help you when you are building, when you will be building your code in a Lightning Web Component. So the same way we will be adding error as well. And again, we will add the fat arrow syntax here. Okay. This dot error is equal to error. This dot accounts will be undefined. Okay, now let me add a semicolon here. So this is the JavaScript part of it, and on HTML side also I believe we are good. Let me try to deploy it and check the output. Okay, so I think it is deployed now. Okay, let me try to refresh it. And this is our button, guys. So as you can see, wire service has initiated data load on the load of this component, but for the imperative callout we have to perform an action to get the data. So whenever you have a requirement where you have to control the invocation of a method, you should use imperative callout. Okay, so when I will click on this get account, then we will be able to see the data itself here. Okay, so that's how you can get the imperative data. And now I hope you understand like when you should use the imperative callout, right? Now let me quickly show you how you can pass the parameters as well while using this imperative callouts. Okay, so for that we will be creating another another Lightning Web component where we will be passing some parameters to get the data. Okay, so let me quickly move to VS Code again. Okay, so for this demo, guys, we'll be creating a new function, a new method here. So here we will do public static list of account, and we will do find ACC list, and here we will be passing keyword, and based on that keyword it will be returning us the data. Okay, so let me just add the keyword first. Okay, so I'm adding this percentage sign to get the data where the data start with or end with this keyword, or if it is having this keyword in the word or in the line itself. Okay, and I will add keyword here. All right, now we will just return it. Okay, so for that we will do select ID and name from account where name like the past value. Okay, and we can add limit also, return 10 records only. All right, so this is going to be the apex here. Let me quickly save it. Okay, find ACC list is the function name. Now for that we will be using bind imperative with param this component. Okay, so the first thing will be to import that function. So we will be importing it. Import find account list from Salesforce Apex ACC controller find account list. Here it is. Okay, now in our component we will be having a input text box, and on the key press of that input text box, sorry, not on the key press, on the, and we will be having a button also. So let's suppose if I will type something in that input text box and I will click on the button, so it will initiate the initiate this function which will be returning us data based on the past value. Okay, so for that, let's have search key first. Okay, let it be empty, then we'll have accounts and error. Okay, now first we will assign the value of that input text box in the search key. So for that, let me go to the HTML first and create an input text box here. Okay, and I believe we can use the same example which we have used here, bind imperative. So let me quickly copy it from here, because in that example also we need a button as well, so we'll be just adding the additional input text box. Okay, yeah, this seems good. So let's add another container for padding, and here I can add my input text box. So I will do lightning input. Okay, and on change I will do handle on change. Let's add a label as well. Search account, and the value of it will be the search key. Okay, so my input is ready. We have copied the button and the remaining part from the previous component. Okay, so I think we are good here. Now let's create this function on the JavaScript side. So we will do handle change, and on handle change we need event as well here. Oops. Okay, now here we will do this dot search key is equal to event dot target dot value, which will be basically returning the key pressed value on this search key attribute. Okay, now let's create button click as well. So on for button click also we can use the same thing which we have used here in the bind imperative method thing, but we will be passing a parameter this time. So let me just copy this thing from here to here. Okay, we are using the same thing here, but now the function name in JavaScript will be changed. It is find account list. Okay, and we'll be passing account error. This will be same. Okay, now while passing the data, while calling this JavaScript identifier, what you can do is you can simply add curly braces here. Okay, now here you will have the name of the keyword from Apex, which is the whatever is the parameter name in Apex, that should be here. So in Apex we are having parameter name as keyword, so we will do keyword. Okay, then we will add a colon and we will add the value this dot search key. So this is going to be the only change from the previous example. Let's suppose if you would like to pass multiple values here, so you can also do that by separating it comma. Okay, so let me save it quickly, and HTML also looks good. Let's try to deploy it and see the output then. Okay, it is almost deployed. Now let me show you the output. So the output is going to be in this fourth section, which is our fourth example of this video. Okay, here it is. So here, let's see, we are having account Mark, John, Chris, Ray, Bob, and this sample default account from Salesforce. So let's search for, maybe we can search for Chris. And also, like, if you'd like to search for anything, you don't have to enter the full name of it. You can just enter simply few characters. Let's suppose if I have entered CH and click on get account, then it will return us the record which is having CH in the value. Okay, don't we have a value where we have some common characters? So we have O in multiple characters. You see John is having O, Bob is having O. So let's search for O only once and let's see if it returns multiple record. Yes. So it has returned all the accounts which is having O word in between them. Okay. So that's how you can pass parameter in imperative callout, right? So I believe we are done with all these demos. Yes, this was the last demo. Awesome. So guys, if you have any query related to wire or imperative callout or related to binding your Apex with your Lightning Web Component, you can just mention that thing in the comment below. I will try to revert back as soon as possible. And if you enjoyed today's video, a subscribe to the channel will be awesome. I'll see you in the next tutorial, guys. Thanks for watching.